Just come in, try it, work with us, work with my team, and I promise you can go as far as you want to go.
What's up, everybody? Today is a very, very special day. I have a ninja guest on the show, and he's very, very unique. And I can't believe that I have the honor to interview him. Such a talented individual. So, yeah, his name is Justin Moore. He is athletic director of the Ninja Obstacle Academy in Huntsville. He's also the co-owner there. He spent 4 years as gymnastic instructor before moving on into ninja training. Now, he has been teaching ninja obstacle training and OCR for almost 10 years now. Justin got certified as a personal trainer through the ISSA at the age of 19. He is certified parkour and a free running instructor through the WFPF. As business owner, his goal is twofold. To pull back the curtain on ninja obstacle training, on how you do not have to be a superhuman to do it, and to set the standard on how ninja training should be approached by, to promote safety, efficiency, and longevity of the ninja athlete in the sport. So, Justin, can you, introduce yourself and tell us how you get started in the business?
Hey, man, Danny, thank you for having me. I'm super pumped to be here. Yeah, so like we said in the intro there, I'm Justin Moore. I'm in Huntsville, Alabama. I run Ninja Obstacle Academy. How'd I get started? Man, it's been a long journey. The short version of that story is I wanted to be an actor, and I had done a couple small productions in the Mobile area, moved to Atlanta to try to work on a big budget film, and didn't have a great time. As a result, I started kind of thinking about like other options and stuff like that. And by chance, I ran into a friend of my uncle who owned a ninja gym and had been on, I think he was on season 6 of Ninja Warrior, named Doc Pruney. And so he ran a ninja gym, and I was like, dude, can I come try it? And I did. And then I loved it. And then I begged him for a job for like a month. And eventually he let me take a shot, and I ended up doing pretty well at it. Using that background in gymnastics was a big help. And I honestly don't think that I would have been able to succeed in ninja if I hadn't started with gymnastics, because I wasn't a particularly athletic guy. As was mentioned in the intro, I'm kind of a science geek. I'm kind of a nerd. And so I wasn't really all that strong. And a lot of the emphasis at the time in ninja was about being really strong. So I kind of created new systems and new approaches that focus on body mechanics and using lower body momentum to generate upward momentum or upper body momentum, so that I'm not having to rely so much on just, muscling my way through everything. And ended up meeting my current business partner, Chris, while I was out there. When I moved out of Atlanta to try to go back to school, Chris offered me a position here. And initially I said no. I was like, dude, I'm tired of moving. I don't want to move again. I've moved a whole bunch over the past like 8 months. Not interested. He said, just come up and check it out, see what you think. And I fell in love with this place. I fell in love with the people. I fell in love with the energy. And it was just such an amazing experience to meet some of the founders here. There were 5 of them, and they're still to this day some incredible friends of mine. We've still got great relationships. And so, yeah, that was mentorship from Chris. I created a new system yet again on ninja training. We've just got such a different approach than what I'm seeing anywhere else. And the coolest part is that we're not having to like handpick athletes and say, you're really good, come train with me. You're really good, come train with me. Anybody can do this, right? If you want to get better, come talk to me. Let's make it happen. We'll scale up or down as needed. We'll make it something so it's accessible. We're pulling back the curtain. So there's my.
You're saying, hold up. So you're saying I could come see you at your gym, and you're gonna train me into a ninja warrior, ready to
100%.
No
Absolutely,
way,
man. Come visit. Come see me, dude.
Oh, all right, game on, man. That'd be so crazy. Imagine, because I'm not athletic in any way. I'm very skinny. I eat very little. I'm not strong. Hearing from you saying like, yeah, you were not an athletic person. It was the opposite. You were complete, kind of geeky, kind of nerdy, into like Marvel and movies and,
Yeah.
science and, like me too, right? But
Yeah.
you went on and trained and developed a system, and that kind of could turn anybody into a ninja warrior, I would say qualified, right? To be able.
Absolutely.
That's insane. So walk me through that process. Like, how did you develop this thing?
Yeah, so it was okay. So I was doing a lot of training with these kind of really fit guys who were just way stronger than I was, way fitter than I was, and I just I remember trying and asking some questions like, how do you do like a pegboard, right? Most of us are probably familiar with what a pegboard looks like. It's this big board. It's got a whole bunch of holes in it. You've got pegs, and you got to move the pegs across the board, right? So I remember asking like, how do I do a pegboard? What's the technique on this? And the guys would say, like, oh yeah, just take your entire body and hold it up on this arm like this, and then move your other one. And I was like, what if I can't do that? What if I'm not strong enough? And they would, you should probably get stronger. That's probably the best option is you should get stronger. And I was like, that I don't know, it just didn't work for me because I couldn't build muscle very quickly. I too was a very, very skinny kid. I tried for years to build muscle. I just could not do it. What I ended up doing was kind of looking at if everybody has their own style of doing each obstacle. What if, I'm a very analytical person, and I started looking at like, if all of those styles have the same three things, then those three things must be the absolutes, like the things that have to happen. And it turned out when you break these down into these like absolute requirements, these are not particularly difficult obstacles or movements. I think the biggest focus or the biggest reason why people end up thinking it's so hard is that there's this big focus and this drive on like, you've got to be strong, you've got to be fit, you've got to be, I work smarter, not harder, dude. I'm a lazy guy. I don't want to have to work super hard all the time to be able to do this stuff. If you train creatively, if you train efficiently, effectively, and most importantly, consistently, you'll get the results that you're looking for. I'm sure you're familiar with Tim Ferriss and the 4-Hour Work Week. I personally am a big fan of Tim. I love Tim's work. I feel like we kind of think a little bit similarly in that kind of deconstructive, and so I read that, and I think that really was the catalyst for feeling confident enough to go into creating this system and then recreating it, because up until that point, I thought that I was kind of just destined to be an idiot forever. And then I read that book and I was like, wait a second, you can be smart without a degree? And then I went full force into reading constantly, like podcasts constantly. And just through this study over the past, like nearly a decade, I've been able to kind of combine, not necessarily create, but combine aspects of different systems and then mold them into what we have here, which is a system that's easy to learn. It doesn't take a ton of time, and it's going to get you the results that you want. We don't have to handpick athletes, like I said, man. It's just come in, try it, work with us, work with my team, and I promise you can go as far as you want to go.
So when you're at this new gym, the Ninja Academy in Huntsville now with your partner, like what has been the best growth method that you experienced in terms of like gaining more students?
That's a great question. I love this question. We're getting into the business side of things now. Like Ninja is my thing, it's my passion, but I'm also really interested in growth and business, all that kind of stuff. So the first thing right out of the gate that Chris told me when I accepted this position is you're going to have to learn to sell. And I was so resistant. I was like, no, don't make me do it. He dragged me kicking and screaming into learning sales. And it was the best decision that I've ever made. Like that, I talk about sometimes with students, there's two things that I've learned in my life that are the most important things I've ever learned. Number one is how to fall down without dying, because I should be dead. I've had so many crazy instances that could have resulted in catastrophic injuries or death, but knowing how to fall safely means I'm still here and relatively unscathed. The second thing is how to sell. And I'm not a sales master by any stretch of the imagination. So my partners, when they founded this, they were business first. Like this was a passion project, but they're all accomplished entrepreneurs. They've been doing this for years. And so they wanted really to focus on that sales position. So they got me into stuff like Grant Cardone. They got me into stuff like Jeb Blunt and fanatical prospecting, stuff like that. But I got to say, as far as sales learning stuff goes, the most effective book, in my opinion, the thing that's benefited me the most is Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. I love
that's a really good book.
Dude, oh my goodness. I love that book. I eat, sleep, and breathe that book and those tactics. And so what we did to kind of boost our numbers. So when I started, we were at 70 students. And what we ended up doing was we redesigned the orientation process, right? So my partners are all really into marketing. I've done a little bit of stuff. I've learned some direct response copywriting, stuff like that. That's not really my specialty, but my partners or my partner, Chris, is just unbelievable at it. And so we have, he's a lead gen guy. That's what he does. So we get leads that come in to the pipeline, and then we just have somebody smile and dial. And I've got all the processes worked out, like the scripts and stuff like that. Somebody comes in to our lead system, and then we call them, and then I go through the whole Chris Voss thing. I've got my questions formulated that are just really, really good questions to get people to understand and for you to understand them. Because I think the biggest issue in sales when it comes to gyms and into Ninja and stuff like that is that people somebody asks for price, and then somebody goes, it costs this much, right? And then that person goes, that's too expensive. But the thing is, that person doesn't know what they're buying yet. That I think is a big reason. I think another thing is that people say, if you build it, they will come. And that's just not true. Like, people aren't lining up to say, take my money. That's just not really a philosophy a lot of people share,
It's only true. It's only true if you're Costco, you build it, they just come, they have no marketing, which is ridiculous. So brilliant marketing. But anyway, so like, just to recap what you said, that was a lot of information in terms of lead generations, right? A sales process, like how to create a sales process that is simple, scalable system.
Yes.
Right. So that's the only way for any brick and mortar business to scale. Because, I've spoken to many successful brick and mortar businesses, like big gyms, right? 2,000-3,000 members. And they all have this thing in the foundation of lead generations, right?
Yes.
Like your business, you gotta know how to generate leads, phone number, and somebody have to call them. Like, hey, this is Justin from Ninja Academy. Are you free to talk this week? Like, that's it. Like that, that's all we talk about, right? Get a response first before you start having a verbal vomit. Like, oh,
dude, yes,
it happens, right? You got to identify what they want.
Yes,
as a hostage negotiator,
absolutely.
You got to know what they want. What do you want?
Yeah, 100%. And then, go sticking with the Chris Voss thing. You've got to articulate it back to them. And you got to say, it sounds like you want this kind of life experience. You want this kind of, game plan, and you want this result. And they go, that's right. And then you go, let me tell you why this program is going to be perfect for you.
There you go.
Right? That's it. That's the secret. That's the secret to having a business right there.
So why do you think getting a coach is important in running a business?
Oh, man. There's 1,000 reasons, 1,000,000 reasons. Having a coach really ultimately needs to serve one purpose, and it's not suffering while you suffer, right? While you're sweating and bleeding and dragging the sled behind you, and you're like, oh, I'm so tired. Oh, I don't want to do this. I want to quit. The coach goes, suck it up, because they're not hurting, right? So that's one element that I think is really important, is just to have somebody outside of your organization or outside of the situation who can go, you need to deal with this, right? It's the same thing as, why would somebody benefit from having me be their ninja trainer? Because I'm going to help them get the most out of the least amount of work, right? Like, I'm going to help. That's my specialty. That's what I do. I help people get the most benefits with the least amount of work, right? And so why would I go try to make an original mistake when somebody else can go, that's a stupid idea. Why don't you try it this way? It's just, there's so much value. And I mean, already we've seen a ton of growth. Our student enrollment's been going back up. We just went, COVID happened, and it's been a crawl trying to come back from that, right? I think the month before the lockdown in COVID, we had 450 students actively attending twice a week. 450. And we're not a huge facility, so that our classes were full. You know what I mean?
Since that happened, what was your outcome? I know you overcome it now. What was your result now? Where are you going now?
Yeah. So one thing that I wanted to touch on, because every entrepreneur is going to deal with that situation where it's like my number two guy is gone, right? Or my number two girl is gone. My right hand is gone. And what has become clear to me, because another, like, my advanced instructor, been with us for 4 years. He just left because he's gonna go. He's working as a physicist, as a scientist, and he's got incredible future ahead of him. And he was really sad about leaving. And I was like, dude, the thing about this for me in my position is, are you better than when you arrived? This is an academy. You got to graduate at some point. So my goal as an entrepreneur is to invest in my people so they move on to do better after they go, and do whatever they're going to do. And seeing the growth in this particular guy, like when he came in versus who he is now, it's unbelievable. And I don't claim to take, like, a ton of credit. It's not my fault that he grew as a person, but I do think that this academy, the good that this can do, for lots of people, not just about fitness. It's not even about fitness for me, man. It's not about Ninja. It's about life. I want to help people improve and grow, and Ninja is my toolkit. That's how I get people focused and ready to work on themselves, just like if it were a martial art. So where's the outcome? Where am I going? I am working on a book right now that I intend to have finished within the next 2 months. I am finished with my Ninja Trainer certification, the in-person version. My plan is to get an online version available as well. And I'm going to start trying to promote the heck out of it and just get as many eyeballs on it as I can, try to talk to the right people, get it, vetted and accredited so that people recognize, like, this is an authority. It's not just my opinion. We fact check, we went back, we tested everything. Again, we tested its metal, like, these theories hold water, and I can prove it with hundreds of students behind me doing it this way and succeeding in spite of whatever background they have. My goal, I want to be the ninja guy. If anybody wants to learn how to do ninja or learn how to teach ninja, because that's really where I specialize at this point, I teach teachers. I want to be the guy that people think about when they think about how to do or how to teach ninja obstacle training.
Man, I think, like, ninja gyms are popping up, dude. They're like the new CrossFit America now. It's just coming up. I think at least I've seen a couple ads in my town about ninja warrior training. I believe so, on Facebook. They run an ad in each end.
Right. Yeah.
Because I live pretty close to LA. So obviously they probably have a ginormous LA Ninja Training Academy there, right?
Right.
But it's becoming like you said, like an Olympic event very soon.
Mm-hmm.
So just like gymnastic, this is a competitive sport, and like I said, and just to kind of recap what you said, it's not just like being the best athlete, but it's more like becoming a more responsible adult.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure young kids are coming to your program, but when they leave, they graduate, when they're adults, they're disciplined, right? And they are much, much more responsible adults comparing to, another kid that didn't take through the program. So
yeah,
I mean, props to you, man. You're doing a great job in terms of, like,
thank you.
Educating the youth, training them, and the Ninja Warrior it's just a vehicle. It's a platform. It could be anything. It could be martial art, right?
Exactly.
So it is one vehicle, and I think that, I see the passion coming out. Like, I'm sure a lot of students who graduates are like just completely went from a shy kid to like a very confident, successful adult, right?
Yes. Dude, okay, so my absolute number one favorite thing about what we do is watching kids come in that won't look you in the eye, their shoulders are hunched, they won't speak very loud. And then now there's two that come to mind immediately that are probably out there training behind me right now that are rank 4 and rank 5. We've got levels just like gymnastics or martial arts. Rank 4 and rank 5. Rank 5 is not easy to get to. Neither is rank 4. They're rank 4 and rank 5, and they stand with their shoulders back. They will project. They'll look you right in the face and tell you what they think, not in an aggressive way. They're very respectful, but their ability to communicate has gone through the roof. And there's a couple of coaches that I have. Actually, they're all young guys, and like between 16 and 18. They went out to compete in world finals of the UNAA, which is the Ultimate Ninja Athlete Association competition in Las Vegas, like a couple of weeks ago. They came back and they said, we want to host a competition where it's UNAA style. And all I did was write the copy and post on Facebook. They did the whole thing. And I mean, like, it was amazing. It was so well received. We had a ton of people show up. They had a great time. The courses were fantastic. One of my coaches was on the microphone, and because we got a mic system, and I usually am on the MC when we do competitions, and I like to be real goofy and play around and stuff like that. And I walk downstairs and I'm packing up and getting ready to go. And the lady that is at the front desk, who works our front desk computer and everything, she goes, man, I'm not going to say his name because, he's a younger kid, but he was like, man, that guy is such a good you. And that made me so happy to hear. Not like, oh, it's like a pride thing. It's like, man, he went from kind of this shy, little bit awkward, now he's the guy on the microphone entertaining and running the entire event. That's a win.
Man, that's amazing. You mean the transformation that you see in each individuals as they come in and as they leave. I think that's why we are in business, because we see the end result of the customer, the students that go through our program and services, and that's what kind of keep us motivated. It's exciting. Yeah. It's not like going to work. It's more like, yeah, it's gonna be fun today. So as we're coming into the end, the last questions, what would be your top 3 advice for entrepreneurs in general, right? Business owners, local business owners, to kind of keep it moving forward. What would be your top 3 advice?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think I've got 3 right here. So the first one is, you better be learning. You better be learning. You better be reading. You better be listening to podcasts. You better be diving in, and don't just take it at face value. If you got to read the book 2 or 3 times, do it, because you're going to learn something new. And then you're going to learn how this book relates to that book, and how if you combine these 2 things, you get this, right? So that's number 1, is you got to learn. Number 2, at some point, you got to start creating, right? You got to learn so that the stuff you create is effective and it makes sense, but you got to start creating. I waited way too long to start creating, right? And it ended up having an impact on me. So you've got to start creating. Create something if you haven't already. And if you have already, then keep creating. Find new things, right? And then number 3 is, it's about momentum, right? It's about momentum. It's so, I'm a big fan of Atomic Habits by James Clear's great book, super actionable, easy, quick read, fantastic stuff. When I take that book and I take, stuff like Key Person of Influence, stuff like that, and I kind of try to combine them and create a system that allows me to maintain momentum every day. That is my main goal. Every single day, I have to make sure I don't lose the momentum that I had the day before. And the bar that I need to set for that needs to be achievable, right? And it needs to be limited. So there has to be a low barrier to entry that says, this is the minimum requirement for the day. But it needs to be low enough that when you have zero motivation, when you're at the end of your day and you're just exhausted because it was terrible and all those kinds of things, you need to be sitting in bed and then go, I didn't do my push-ups. And then hop down and do 10 push-ups, right? If it were fitness, or if it's, I need to write 20 words of my new manuscript, right? Whatever it is, you got to have that low barrier to entry, and then you got to have that limit on, this is the maximum I'm allowed to do today, because if I exceed this, I will be so tired tomorrow that I don't feel that I need to work, right? If I do this much, if I exceed this much, then I'm going to feel entitled to a break. I don't get a break. I have momentum every single day. Momentum keeps things moving forward, and it will continue moving forward until something else acts on it. So the only thing that's going to keep you from progressing as an entrepreneur is you stopping your own momentum. keep it going. Have your daily checklist, whatever form it takes. Maybe it's in your mind, maybe you write it down, maybe you got Meister task, whatever it is. Keep your daily checklist, have your minimum effective dose, and have your max effective dose, and then call it a day.
Man, that was so powerful, dude. Thank you so much. I think, I remember when I was first starting out in my entrepreneur journey. This is credit to Ty Lopez, okay? I saw his ad, and he said he reads, a successful entrepreneur or CEO reads 52 books a year. And I thought, that's interesting, because I read 0 book. I was a wannabe entrepreneur in college, and I read no book about businesses, right? So because I saw that, and then I was like, okay, let me try to read books. But that was years ago, probably now past a couple hundred books now, in the library. But the profound thing that happened after that, and just want to go recap what you share, is you can't draw from an empty well.
Yes.
Right. This is a quote from Myron Golden, one of my coaches, Myron Golden. And he says, you got to put in here every single day, like you said, the minimum, like you read at least 25 pages a day. Like that's like 15 minutes reading. That's nothing. Give yourself 25 pages a book a day before bed, or in the morning, whichever you like, and try to read at least 30 minutes. If you have time, you got to read 30 minutes every day, and you got to read 1 book per week. It's all in the book, guys. All the secrets of wealth, mysteries of wealth, secrets of successful, is condensed in books. Secrets hidden, it's in books. You got to read them to see the message.
Dude, 100%. And what I love about, so we'll talk about the secret that's in a book, and how it's going to make other things successful. So back to Atomic Habits for a second. He's like, your habit that you want to develop, like let's say it's reading, your habit needs to be easy to implement. It needs to have an environmental trigger, and it needs to take less than 2 minutes to get started, right? So if you're trying to start reading, and you don't have time to read, right? Which is just, you don't make reading a priority, okay? And I get it. I have a hard time. I've got 1 kiddo. I've got another kiddo on the way. Like, I have a hard time finding time to just sit down and read a book, right? So Audible in the car, right? There's also a ton of free books on Spotify and stuff like that. Like, I listen to books all the time.
Man, that's so good. So good, Justin. So for the listener out there, I think, this is an amazing episode. We learned so much about entrepreneurship, right? The truth behind the success, it's not easy. Okay. It's quite hard, but it's doable. So if anybody want to reach out to you, whether they want to train for becoming a ninja warrior, if they want to learn how to become a ninja warrior instructor, or how to start a business, pretty much, like, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so I'm on right now, I'm on Instagram as Do Better Ninja with underscores between each one. If you want to hit me up there, send me a DM. So do_better_ninja. I'm on Facebook. You can check out my business page, which is Ninja Obstacle Academy Huntsville. Check that out. You can check me out. My personal page is Justin Moore Ninja Trainer. You can check that out. I've got a YouTube that I just started. There's not a lot of content on it yet, but I've got some tutorials on there. And then on top of that, if you really want to come in, you want to learn about how to do this stuff, you want to get certified as a ninja trainer, you want to start your own training so that you can be a ninja athlete, if that's your thing, ninjaobstacleacademy.com, fill out a form and reach out. I'll call you, we'll call you, get you on the phone, and get you what you need.
All right. Thank you, everybody. That is it for today. Well, stay tuned for next episode. Thank you. Have a nice day.